Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Fr.TEDTalks Faith in Action. Today's practical question that somebody recently asked me was, Father, how do I, continue to live my Orthodox lifestyle and, fulfill my Orthodox obligations on a day-to-day basis when I'm traveling? And of course, this is something that I think most of us have dealt with, right? And of course, this person was specifically speaking more about fasting, but also, our daily prayer rule, right? What do we do when we go on vacation or when we go on a business trip? Because of course, when we travel, especially when we travel far away, either on airplane or boat or even long drives, of course, our daily schedule changes, our routine changes, and this can be difficult to kind of incorporate into our prayer rule. For example, we as Orthodox Christians, if we're active, usually we have prayer. And most of the time we will pray in the mornings, our morning prayers, and we will pray in the evenings, our evening prayers before we go to bed. We've spoken before on other videos about kind of the flow of prayer and how to set up a prayer rule and how to start praying. We did this a couple of weeks ago, and you can check that video out. And of course, that's good, and it's difficult to kind of establish that. But if you remember in that previous video, we spoke about how Orthodox prayer books or prayer apps, which are based on the Orologion, the Book of the Hours, provide us with many different prayers for many different parts of the day. And this allows us to shift the types of prayers that we read based on the needs that we have for that particular day. So when it comes to prayer rule and traveling, it's not as hard as the fasting situation, because for example, if we're traveling overnight, there is, as we've said, the apodipno, the small compline, or the mesonichtiko, the midnight prayers. When we're awake at strange times when we're traveling, we don't have to do our prayers that we're used to, let's say morning and evening prayers, or let's say afternoon prayers. We can switch and do those other evening or midnight prayers or the hours, depending on where we are and when we're awake. And also, this is sometimes a beautiful opportunity to explore these new services that we may have not been able to read or pray before. So, traveling, I would say that you still have to keep up your prayer routine at least once a day. I know sometimes when we're traveling and we're running around, it gets tiring, depending on what we're doing, and maybe we can't do twice a day or 3 times a day, depends on how long and how many times we're praying. But I would say that at least once a day, we should dedicate to prayer while we're traveling, if not more. And when that is and what particular service we choose to do will be based on our travel schedule. So that's not so difficult because we have many different options from a prayer point of view. When it comes to fasting, it's a little more complex because, of course, fasting requires planning ahead, knowing the days that we're fasting, being able to control the environment in which we eat, which is our home usually, right? Orthodox Christians usually will plan ahead Wednesdays and Fridays, which is our standard fasting days during the year, or, for example, the great fasts, for example, the Nativity fast, which is November 15th all the way to the 25th of December, or the Great Lenten fast, which shifts every year, or the Apostles' fast, or the Dormition fast in August. We know that these are the standard times of of fasting, and we know that sometimes our travel, whether it be vacation or work related, falls within those days. So what do we do? Because we can't control, we don't have a fridge to carry around with us. We usually don't travel around with a cooler. Sometimes we can't control the meals that we have access to. So again, my response to this would be that, we try to do our best, of course. Sometimes we're in places where there are a lot of vegan options, for example, and we can fast on a Wednesday or a Friday, even when we're on vacation or when we're traveling. However, sometimes we don't have those options. And when we don't have those options, or we don't have access to those, then we do the best we can, right? Sometimes, for example, you're traveling on a plane, they don't have a vegan option or a full vegetarian option. Well, maybe they have something that doesn't require meat, but there's dairy. Well, then I do the best I can. Maybe I try to stay away from the meat on that fasting day, but I do have dairy because that's the only thing I have access to on that particular day and that particular location. So we shouldn't be caught up on the letter of the law, but rather the spirit of the law, that we are trying to do something to have self-control, to continue our training, to continue our spiritual, obligation to God and to ourselves and to the church, but at the same time acknowledging that sometimes there are things that are beyond our control. So we shouldn't freak out too much about not being able to do the perfect fast when we are on vacation. I know the elephant in the room is that many people say, well, Father, when I go on vacation, I don't fast at all because I'm on vacation and I just want to kind of let loose and I want to enjoy myself. And I understand that as well, that, sometimes people don't want to think about any of these things, right? But I would say that the more healthier spiritual thing to do as an Orthodox Christian is that wherever you go, there should be a maintenance of some type of prayer and some type of fasting based on the cycle of the church. Why? Because if we go away on vacation, and for example, we're away for an extended period of time, for example, I go to, let's say, Greece for 2 or 3 weeks, that's a long period of time to disengage from my spiritual life, to not pray at all or to not fast at all. So doing a little bit, even on those vacation times, maybe not as stringent as what I do when I'm back at home, is really important to keep that rhythm of prayer. We don't cease to be Orthodox just because we're on vacation. It's very, very important, because when we come back from vacation or from a work-related journey, and we haven't done anything, then it's hard. We all know how hard it is to get back into the routine of prayer and fasting and even going back to church services. So I like to personally, even when I'm on vacation with my family, if there's an Orthodox church in the area, I like to seek it out. It's a beautiful way of learning about new places that I've never visited, visiting new churches, even if it's not a Greek one, as long as it's Orthodox. And if it's a Sunday and I can, I'll try to go to church. If there is no church in that area where I'm visiting, well, then I will try to do at least some type of special morning prayers, let's say on a Sunday, if I'm away on a Sunday on vacation or something like that. So there are always things that we can do to mark the importance of the days. Wednesdays and Fridays are fasting. Of course, if you're away on a Sunday and you can't go to church on that Sunday because there's no Orthodox church nearby, we should dedicate a little bit of extra time on Sunday morning for prayer with our family. Be good. You can even read, even the pre-communion prayers, even though you're not taking communion. It's a good way of reminding yourself of where you should be on that Sunday, even though you can't be, or doing another extended service with the family or with yourself if you are alone. So, we do the best we can. We try not to leave everything out when we're traveling, but sometimes it's not ideal. So even if we can only do 50%, or if we can only do 20%, it's better than nothing. It keeps Christ in our mind, in our heart. We are remembering him, and he will honor the effort, even if it's a little bit of an effort. It's better than no effort at all. That's the best kind of answer that I can give to this particular question. How do we kind of maintain our spiritual lifestyle when we're traveling? You do your best. Of course, travel with a prayer book or with a prayer app. Always good to carry a little icon with you. A prayer rope is good as well. These tools, they can travel with us everywhere because they're small and modular, and we can always set up a little bit of a house church everywhere we are, even in our hotel rooms, even in the resorts or in somebody else's home that we're staying. We can kind of carry these little elements of the church with us so that we always remember that we are Orthodox Christians first, and of course, vacationing and people enjoying themselves second. We need our rest, we need our vacation, but we also need to give God what he is due, which is honor and worship and thanksgiving. That comes first before everything else. That's all for today. Till next time, take care and God bless.